So, I've heard some very interesting things there, and someone just said to me that emotion is a fine line, because if a speech is over emotional, you can actually lose your audience. So emotion can be a very fine line in terms of choosing a speech topic. You can make a very personal speech that's extremely emotional, very sad and that. But if the audience feels down at the end of the speech and not uplifted, is this really going to be such a great topic? Or maybe you'll have to tweak the topic slightly so that it's more uplifting. So the main things I I'd put together when selecting this slide were: number one, do you love the subject? Because if you love something, you're emotionally attached to it. Love is the most powerful emotion we can have in this world, really. It's the emotion that really drives people to do some really silly things. And I'm talking about boys or girls to cross over a river, as someone said to a 15-year-old lady. Love is a powerful emotion. And if you love a subject, you need to convey that emotional value to the audience. Do you have a connection with it? Is it a personal connection? Is it an emotional connection? Say you want to do a speech on, I'll go back to the example of accounting. If you really love being an accountant, you could actually explain to the audience why you love being an accountant. You could say to them, the reason I love being an accountant is because it's like just crossing a threshold into another dimension where I learn everything I should know about my client. It sounds a bit cheesy, but you might be onto something there, rather than just saying, oh, I saw numbers and numbers are cool, and then you just show them some numbers to people. There needs to be an emotional element in a speech. To me, I'll be very frank, as a speaker, this is the thing I struggle the most with. Because naturally, I'm quite a logical person, quite a rational person. I like to speak on a complex topic, but it's so easy to bore the audience if you just do something on a complex topic. There needs to be something people can latch onto when you choose a topic. And there's some topics that are just off limits because of that. But try and find it. Can the audience connect with it as well? We all have needs. Food, shelter, warmth, basic human needs. Try and think of a topic that can trigger these needs with the audience. It's much easier for personal speeches than for non-personal speeches, but do think about these needs. If you want to make a speech on energy, for example, you have to incorporate something in there that can say, just imagine you're cold in the middle of winter with no electricity. What do you do? An emotional connection, an emotional aspect is really what can make the difference between a good speech or even a very good speech and really a speech that's going to win the contest and go all the way to Washington, D.C. to compete on this level. Has any one of you seen a district winner speech, Tien Trang's speech, winning speech? You've seen it?
Which one was that about?
Tien Trang.
About the women.
Yes. The reason that speech is so effective is because there's actually a lot of emotion in it. She's very passionate about the subject. She's knowledgeable about it, and the emotions it triggers is a lot of humor, a lot of archetypes like that in society. There's a huge emotional element in that speech. Rather, if she'd just done a speech that was a lot shriller and something, she calibrated extremely well. And that's what such a good speech in my view.
What was the subject?
It was feminism. It's a speech about basically women in advertising, where she basically said this is all women are objectified in advertising, and she's very crafty about it because it's not necessarily a lecture to people like this is scandalous, this shouldn't happen, because this would put people off. But she connects with the audience instead by making people laugh and by just showing how ridiculous the whole thing is. There's a slide on it, for example, about advertising for cars, which I'm not going to describe in detail. That's what makes a speech exciting, because people can connect with it instead of saying, instead of if you could say attacking people frontally and saying this is why it's wrong, we shouldn't do this, she goes around it the other way. She makes people laugh about it. That's what makes it so effective. Does that answer your question, Angela? Now, last, the most important bit is the audience. How would you consider your audience when when choosing a speech subject? What are the criteria you watch out for in that with your audience when speaking a speech subject? What's important there?
Nobody's bored.
That nobody's bored? Yeah?
Age, interest.
Yeah. Timekeeper, what's the time now?
You have 2 minutes.
Okay, so we'll have a shorter brainstorm this time. Can we have like 3.5 minutes brainstorm on the audience?
Yeah, let's just say.
Okay, you're ready. So can we have any more ideas on key criteria to consider in the audience, please?
No one's offended.
The ones offended?
They might get tough on you and
They might get tough on you.
What their objective is, like why they're there.
What's in it for me? Very good. Any more ideas?
Show that you're connecting using eye contact, gesticulation.
That's the delivery. That's the delivery. It's very important. That's very important. The delivery. Here we're just concerning ourselves with the topic itself.
How contentious it is.
How pretentious it is. Yes.
How relevant it is to their
Yeah.
lives.
Very, very good indeed. There's a lot of things out there to consider. So the first one is what's the average age of the audience? It's funny because I've been to a fair few Toastmaster clubs and it strikes me that every Toastmaster club has got a slightly different average age. As you would expect from any organisation. There's some clubs in London where it's kind of young professionals. There are other clubs where the average is slightly higher. It varies immensely and it never ceases to amaze me. But the topic you would speak on will actually have an impact there. If say you want to make a speak on social media, for example, or Tinder, this could be a humorous speech that would go on very well if the average age in the club is like in the 20s, 30s, even 40s. But if the average age is a lot higher, that topic may just not go on as well. Some people might be asking, what the hell is Tinder, for example? Exactly. It's a simple thing, but it does matter. We have a natural bias as humans. We think, I'm interested in this, therefore everyone else will be interested too. But there are such a thing as differences in generation. And the younger generation, which I'm part of, we're more connected, we're more on social media. We speak a slightly different language, but all the people may not always speak that language. This is something important to bear in mind.
I think that's quite a dangerous area to get into. I think when you start looking at age and making assumptions,
It is and it isn't, because if you want to do a really great speech that will get you the best speaker plaque that you've got out there, you've got to consider everything. You've got to consider everything, and that can difference there. For most topic, age difference won't necessarily matter that much. But for some topic it might. And there's so many topics out there that everything's got to be considered. Does that make sense, or you still not? You still want to chat? That's fine. I mean, I accept the challenge there.
You can tailor the topic to suit the audience.
Tailor, yeah.
And not change the topic.
You tailor it, yeah. But that's
slower.
it's kind of what we're trying to get at with the refining here. A topic can be a very big headline, like I want to make a speech on British history, for example. But then this process that we're doing that is refining the topic to find the one thing within the topic that's going to be really interesting. So you start with something quite broad, and then you break it down into a part, and then it's all about tailoring. A lot of what I'm saying there is actually tailoring in many ways. The background of the audience, professional and professional. This, by the way, what I'm saying about the audience here, it's crucial outside of Toastmasters. Not necessarily at Toastmaster, but it can be crucial outside of Toastmasters, even more so. Sorry? If you're going to do a speech, say for example, you're a member of I'm not an accountant, but I use the accountant example again. You will have a common language with these guys. It's simple, but you can go ahead with it. If it's a different audience, however, we're not there. Familiarity with the subject. Is the audience familiar with the subject or not? This, in Toastmaster, this is important because you should never assume that people know about something. I have made that mistake many times in my Toastmaster journey as well, because I'm interested in many things, and I'm interested in history, for example, and I sometimes say, oh, but everyone knows that France and England used to be at war many, many times in the past. Well, not everyone does. Not everyone does, and that has got to be something interesting. It's best sometimes to just dumb it down a little bit too much than to make the assumption that people know about something. Yes, please.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
I think the key to part of that, what you're saying, is some of the words used. If you say, all of you know, or everyone knows, that's the assumption.
Yeah.
Whereas if you say, some of you might be aware, you're not offending anybody, but also some people acknowledge that they might know what you're on about.
Yeah. Yes.
Familiarity might affect whether you use words that could be perceived as jargon.
Yeah.
For example, so if you're in education and you're talking to an audience consisting of school teachers, you might throw in, DFE is Department for Education. But if you're talking to non-education people, then that's just obvious.
How many people are there, but really never assume it? I've made a mistake so many times. I regret doing it. I did it for my number 10 speech, for the first iteration of my number 10 speech. This is a mistake I try hard not to do again. Because it's something, we assume that people know what we're passionate about. Don't make that mistake.
What did you do?
What did I do?
Yes.
My number 10 speech was a speech that I did an history content actually about the history of France and Britain. And in the first half of the speech, in the build-up to the second half, where that was kind of a call to arm, I basically said a lot of I talked about common history, but in a way that it would not have been obvious to people that didn't know the subject what I was talking about. If you see what I mean, like when I just redid it again a few weeks in a different club, I tweaked it by adding a lot more references to just signposting a lot more, but also by dumbing it down slightly. I would need to look back to the previous version of the speech to think exactly what I did, but this is what happened, more or less. I'm on red light. But very quickly, then how do you tie all these threads together when speaking of subject? Again, the time. If you only have 7 minutes, and I know I've just been guilty of that now. If you only have 7 minutes, you have to take only one slice of the topic you want to speak about. Consider the structure. Maybe you already have something in mind. Yeah.
I can't read that.
Okay. Well, I did a tweak with the slides earlier today. I should not have done. Strong opinion conclusion. I will email the slides to everyone, by the way. And what I would say is 1 minute is 100 to 120 words when writing a speech. So consider that if you have 7 minutes to speak, you've got 700 words that you can use, maybe 800 at a push. It's a bit of a guideline I use myself, and I tell my mentees to use this guideline as well. And what happened at first is that they end up not speaking for 7 but for a lot less. But when you want to speak slowly, try and add that rhythm. Now, just to go through what we covered very quickly, what you know, what you love, the audience, and your speech shuffle. Now, I'm aware I've run out of time, so I'll take 2 questions maximum. Yes, please, Sina.
Florian, I like your confidence. You're very confident, and I wish to have a confident like you.
You'll get there, don't worry.
Yeah, my question is,
do you think a speech should be solidifying correct or should be helpful?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. Do you think a message in a speech should be solidified, should be really correct, or should it be helpful? Because they are two different things. Sometimes you might be very correct, but you might not be helpful.
Are you meaning, should you be afraid to offend your audience? Is that what
No, I mean, I can approach anybody and tell them honestly what's good about them,
Right.
what's not good about them, but it may not be helpful to them. I mean, sometimes I can approach people and integrate my knowledge in a way that it's helpful for people
Right.
and not highlighting all the facts and the
So
truth.
your question is, should your speech try to help the audience?
Yeah, it's helpful or does it need to
What
be?
I would say is that on the correct point is, I remember when I did debating at university, the tactic that some people used to gain more points in debating profession was actually to lie deliberately. It is extremely common in debating competition, and guess what? It is extremely common in table topic competition as well. I can do countless speeches where people have said something that it's obviously a lie. When you're doing a prepared speech, I personally would say never ever lie in a prepared speech.
I'm not talking about lie, it's just being helpful.
I think we'll have to take this offline because...
Sure.
Okay, final question from someone who hasn't asked one before, if possible, please. Okay, final question, please.
What was your favourite speech that you've
Of all the speeches I've done, I've got a couple. One of them that it still stands out. It's my number 6 speech actually. It still stands out to me as being one of my best speeches. Even though I was just hugging the lessons like that and reading my notes. And the reason for me I felt it was a good speech is that I really liked the subject and it was a subject I knew about. And I felt the audience could relate on that. The emotional connection was not as strong as it could have been on that topic. It was a topic on saying science is amazing, basically. And it's a missed opportunity because it's a speech that has a lot of potential, but when you want to convey a message like that, science is amazing or technology is amazing or something like that, making a connection with the audience is super tough. I'm still learning how to do it. I could become a lot better at it, but the journey never ends. It's not because I've got these 3 letters there that I'm an expert. I'm working towards getting these 3 letters again. The journey never ends. I've said the number 9 speech yesterday in a demo meeting, and I'm like, I wish I could do what that lady has done. This is the beauty of Toastmaster. We all learn from each other. It's not because someone's got letters at the end of their name that they know more, that they're an expert. It's level playing field here. We all learn from each other, which is why we get instant feedback. Now I've spoken for enough. I'm way over the red light here, and I'm keeping you up. And I've got to go back to South East London. I think I'm going to have to get the night bus now. If you want to get hold of me, send me an email. I don't bite. If you like this course, please endorse me or write a recommendation on LinkedIn. And this is it for me. Back to Mr. Toastmaster.